Alright, welcome everyone to the live stream. This is a behind the scenes. This is giving you a little look into what it takes to produce a video. So I have my Lumex G85 here set up to actually record, but I have a problem in my studio here, and that's the new router that I got. It's a badass router. It's the G85. No, I'm sorry, it's the AC5300 Asus ROG Rapture router, and it's interfering with my microphone. It's the you may not be able to see it. It might not be in frame. It's the Rode microphone, and it's putting a lot of clicks in the audio. So I have to set up, I'm going to use a program here to do the recording of the audio at the same time that I'm recording on my G85, so I can edit that together and essentially replace the audio. That program up. Audio check, test. Let's see. New audio file. Record. Testing 1, 2. Alright, I got good levels on my microphone. I'm using my Yeti microphone to capture the audio. We'll hit record on my G85. Okay, that way I can synchronize the audio with that clap. It's the same type of clap that you hear. And I'm not watching any comments, sorry everybody. It's the same type of clap you hear with the clapper in their film production. So I'm wearing a tie. I usually wear a tie. I've gotten out of the habit a little bit over the last, I'd say probably 6 months, but almost everywhere I go I have a tie on. So I have over 200 ties. This is what I had to resort to. Hanging ties on a rack, and then I got a bag full of ties here. I just have ties. So I want to design a tie rack. I had it in my old house, where I had it in my old house, and I got to retake that. So I had a tie rack in my old house. It was mounted on the wall in my closet. I could hang all my ties there. Even that wasn't enough. I made it out of wood and pegs. You know, it would have been a perfect video. I just wish I started YouTube a long time ago, because I've made so many things that would have been up there on the channel, promoting ideas. So I took a different approach to this problem, just by opening up Fusion 360 and taking an idea that I had. It's not a new idea, but I kind of tweaked it a little bit. I kind of tweaked it a little bit for my use, and that was just to have a series of holes in a rectangle. It was a rectangle. It was like 140 millimeters tall by 100 and something wide. And I measured the tie ahead of time, so I'll step through I gotta take that again. So I'll step through the problem. The problem is I needed some place to hang my ties. Here's a tie, right? So we got a tie. I'm showing this on the G85 in frame. So I got a tie, and I have my calipers. If you're into 3D printing, chances are really good that you own a pair of calipers. Anyway, I measured the thickness of the tie, but I didn't squish it. I just kind of like held it there, and I'm like, okay, I'm seeing that it's about 5 millimeters for basically the weight that the material lays, because this is doubled over twice and then sewn on, so it's thicker, and it depends on the type of material too, because some of them have I can't think of the word, like another material that's backing it on the interior, so that makes the tie even thicker. So I needed to measure that, and I measured the width of the tie, and I picked the midpoint, and I tried to average it together. So here's a narrow tie. You know, I got a rather large neck. I'm like a 1920 neck. So I found the midpoint of the tie by hanging it on my hand, and then I measured that width, and that width came in like 25. So I'm like, okay, you know, what if I have a really wide tie? You know, I wouldn't be able to support installing that into hanging it on the tie rack if it were too narrow. So I went for a value of 60 millimeters, gave me plenty. And so I designed it, and Bob Young was in the chat with me. We were going back and forth about how to do things in Fusion 360, and it wasn't the most optimal way. I'm going to pull that footage into here so you can watch how I made it right now. So that's me, basically a word to me to insert that footage from last night that I recorded on OBS of me working in Fusion 360. This is behind the scenes banter for the live stream, not for the G85. And I try to cut out a lot of my ums and ahs. I'm like a Toastmaster, and you know, I'm still going through a lot of the ums and ahs. So after it was designed, I 3D printed it, and some of the talk that Bob Young and I had was about the wall thickness and everything, and I was really concerned that this is the 3D printed model with the ties on it, that this would be weak and not able to support all the ties, and I was really concerned about the weight of all the ties on this hook, and maybe I should design the hook a little bit wider, maybe increase the wall thickness. I think it was 5 and 6, the typical default in Prusa slicer, because I do have the Prusa i3 MK2S. So now I'm going to demonstrate how I insert the ties, and so at the end everything worked out well. I'm really happy with how it came out, and there's no sharp edges. I was kind of concerned about like the elephant foot might have some sharp edges, but it really, the ties just flow in nicely. I used inland filament. I don't have any issues with the filament. I'll probably print, I'm going to print a second one. This can hold, I think, 24 ties, but then I realized that I could double them up, because actually the slots that I included here are a little bit wider than normal, than one tie. So I'm fitting 2 ties side by side, so I could fit 48 ties in here. So if there's a tie that I want out of the bunch, I can simply, and I'm not going to this is one that I'm not going to share the STL file with. I don't need to. You can create this yourself just by following my video, my step-by-step video. Now, that might not be the best way to do it, but Fusion 360 is free. You can download it. You just have to prove that you're a company that doesn't make 100,000 or more. If you make under 100,000, you're free, and if you're a hobbyist, it's free. So if there's a tie that I want, I can search the tie that I want, lift it up, and literally just pull it through. So I can pull through the opposite way to remove the tie. So I'm really stoked about this. This is, and I ran into somebody at Rowan University today, and we started talking about how some children could be exposed to some of this. Really nice lady who has concerns for some use and volunteers her time to help them, inspire them to be aware that there's more than just sitting at home playing video games. You can use your mind to design stuff. And I went through the whole process of explaining that you can take an idea. This was it. I think it took me longer to think about it than it did to actually do it. I was thinking, and finally I just said, you know what? I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to worry about trying to make the most perfect thing or whatever. And I'm pleasantly surprised with its outcome. So I had a thought, went into Fusion 360, designed it, redid it, because it was free. I could throw it away and start over again. It's just my time. This is the design I came up with. Sliced it, which, you know, is for people who don't understand 3D printing. So you save, you design it in some program, you run it through, you have to save it as a specific file. I won't get into the details of that, but then that file is then essentially opened up or imported into another program that then will translate that data into details that your 3D printer understands. So a 3D printer is a device that adds plastic. It could be other materials, but for the most part it's plastic. And there's various types of plastic. The type that I'm using is basically harmless. You won't eat it, but it's known as PLA. So I would recommend that if you're not familiar with 3D printers, look up what PLA is, polylactic acid. So it translates. So you even have to know what type of plastic you're going to use to identify the temperature properties. You put all that information in certain fields in this application that slices it, and it translates it into code that the printer will understand and generate a prototype. And that's what this is. This is a prototype. But now, this prototype, it's been tested. It's gone from a prototype to the actual product. I don't have to send this out to be made. Now it's not cost effective, but I can print as many of these as I want, and I'm done. I don't need to send this out for somebody for tooling or anything. I did all the work myself. Now, it's not cheap to enter this field, and there are maker spaces that you could utilize. Even like our local library has a 3D printer. You just have to take a course on it, which I think they have a couple a week that you can sign up for. You take a little test, and if you pass the test, you can operate the printer. So this print here is 10 millimeters thick, I believe. Could be 9. I should actually measure it to see. Yeah, so I'm 9.5, so it's probably intended to be, it's about 9. So 9 millimeters thick. And it has it's not solid, right? So it does some layers that are solid, and it does what's called infill, whatever you specify. You can specify 100% infill, which means that it is solid. But that way it saves space, it saves material. So this is not solid. And then it does a layer on top that is solid. So it's just an incredible technology that is allowing us to quickly create things that we can use. And another mind blow is that the printer itself is used by the printer manufacturer to create more printers like itself. So it's not Skynet yet, but it's getting very close. A little bit of AI and we're all doomed. But there you go. That's my review of the 3D printed tie rack. If you want to do it, follow my live stream. I'm going to cut that down into the exact section where I was successful in designing this. And I'll speed it up some so it's not boring to watch. And I think you'll be happy with the results as well. And I think this is a great gift for somebody who likes ties. Like, this can easily fit 48 ties. The one design thing I think I would change, as I mentioned earlier, was the size of this hook. The hook is completely centered over the top, so as long as the ties are evenly balanced on the left and right, this is going to pretty much stay level. So again, the thickness, and just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with, we are 5, so that's a 5mm thickness around the hook. I would probably go 10 just to give it a little bit. And what I did, I measured the bar in my closet, and I made sure that the opening here, right here, the opening here where you hang it up, was larger than that bar. And I made it even a little bit larger in case we ever change the bar itself. I don't have to worry about throwing this away and changing it. But that's the benefit of what's called 3D printing, everybody. So this is something that I really recommend you look into further and watch, you know, jump around on my live stream so you can see. Now, I don't show the entire thing being 3D printed because that would have been really boring. Anyway, thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give the video a like. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you designed and what things you like. I want you to check out a couple channels. Print 3D channel run by Jeffrey Wright. Practical Printing is another channel run by Chris. Repcord has a channel. I'll have to put a link in the video. There's also an event that's being planned. If you haven't heard of Murph, it's the Midwest Rep Rap. There's plans to launch the EARF, so that's the East Coast Rep Rap Fest. That'll be in 2018, probably late June. The exact dates I think were ironed out, and that'll be someplace in Maryland, I believe, close to my house. And if you don't already, you'll know Joel Telling and Maker's Muse, Chuck Hellebuck, A Pirate Design, Press Reset. You know, there's so many to name. Just give them all a check out. I'm going to have all the links to their channels in my video. They do a lot of quality stuff, and this print here doesn't match any of their work at all. This is just in line with designing, prototyping, testing. So, alright, thanks for watching. Bye, everyone. Alright, so I'm hoping I got good audio on that. I don't think I need to talk about anything else. I think I captured everything. If I do, I'll just re-record it. That won't be on the live stream. And a lot of this is just, I'm just rambling on, but I'm trying to stay on point about the topic. I do have to finish loading these ties up because they are in the way, and that was the whole point of creating this, to kind of get rid of this bag so it's no longer sitting in the middle of my floor. My studio here is a real mess. I'm trying to clean it up a little bit at a time. There's some cool things I want to do to the studio. I want to design and build some racks and have some spotlights in here that are controlled by servos or stepper motors that I'll design and install. Probably have it controlled by Arduino or something, talking to an H-bridge or whatever I have hooking up to the stepper motor. And then some cameras controlled the same way. So I'll have a couple of webcams that are on, I'm thinking 3 degrees of freedom, no, 5 degrees of freedom arms that I can swing around and move into various positions. So I'm getting the Christmas ties. I got ties for almost everything. Got old El Paso tie. So sorry I'm not seeing any comments right now because I have the phone turned the other way. So some of these ties got mangled up sitting here in this bin. It's not a proper way to take care of ties. So if you're watching, there's a live stream again that's being held by Pooch. You can follow him on and he's Pooch because he's fellow Italiano. So his last name is Puccinelli. So he's hosting a live stream you'll be able to catch. I'm thinking he's going to post a link on Twitter. So make sure you step on over to that. So this is getting kind of heavy. I should have weighed this prior to starting this. But these ties, when you start bulking them up, they take up a lot of weight. There's a lot of material here. And if I'm successful in getting 48 ties on this thing, it's going to be quite heavy. It'll be a real test for the quality of this hook. I do have a couple favorite ties, the ties that I would wear every day if I could, but you know, you almost don't want to wear the same tie every day. Although in high school, I was guilty of wearing the same camo pants every day. And that's because I didn't want to fall into that category of, oh, he's dressed really cool. I'm like, yeah, I just didn't give a shit about that. I was worried more about my mind and that stuff. Cultivating my mind. That's what I was worried about. It's almost like the Einstein approach, not nowhere as near intelligent as Einstein, but he had the approach where he had the same suit every day, so he didn't have to think about any of that. Here we go, we're loading up. So the ties that are a little bit wide, it works out with the opening that they can overlap some. So you can see that these two ties are too wide to fit side by side at the point where I pull them up. And I do have to pull them up beyond the halfway point because, you know, there's more material on one side and gravity would treat that side a little bit better and pull it off. So I have to try to balance it out and pull more of the narrow part through. And that tie there, that's mangled. I mean, I can press it out, which I'll probably end up doing. My bud at my old job, he got me this tie here. So this is, I guess I'll put some of this footage on the video. I'm still recording. So he got me this tie one day at work. That was a long time ago. We're all a bunch of engineered dorks. And Bugs Bunny. I haven't seen him in a while either. This is becoming stressful on my shoulder. A little bit of a workout right now. This reminds me of karate. I'm a 3rd degree black belt, so we'd have this exercise where you'd have to hold your arms out for many minutes. Oh, this tie is crap. I think I put this one through the wash. This thing is destroyed. I should just wear this one day just for the fun of it. It's like the world's ugly tie now. I don't know if I can even bring that back to life with pressing it. But I think I got hot sauce from Wings on it one day, and I'm like, shit, I gotta wash it. Well, that was not a good idea. So there's another video that I released that was over the weekend. My neighbor helped me with my my pressure washer. It wouldn't start, so, and I needed it for sure to clean off my boat. So I went out and bought another one and brought that one home, the one that wouldn't start. And I finally got around to fixing it with his help, and he explained everything about the carburetor and how it works, and we just took it apart and troubleshooted it, and I got the whole thing on video, and we made that 28, I think it was like 23 minutes or 24 minutes long. I even did the closed captioning on it. So if you're a content creator, you definitely want to do the closed captioning on any video that you think that has the possibility of being a hit. And even if not, you know, the video, if the video is a half an hour long, you at least have to set aside 45 minutes, because it's going to take you longer. You have to watch the whole thing and transcribe it. You'll use the audio, the edited audio that Google comes up with automatically when you submit the video. So the way I do it is I put it untitled, unlisted. I mean, I submit the video unlisted, and with it unlisted, then some point later or immediately maybe, it transcribes the audio, you know, with voice detection, and puts the closed captioning, but you know, it's robot closed captioning. You can use that text as a basis, which makes things much easier. But some of the stuff that it comes up with is crazy. But I have to give it a break because I am from Jersey, and here in Jersey we do not speak right, and I know that. I mean, we say water, not that bad, but you know, water. You want some water? You know, people look at me like, you mean water, or I can't even say it right. And what are those wax things that you color with? You know, they're crayons, right? Well, apparently it's said differently in California, because my friend's from California and he keeps saying, yeah, it's not crayon. You wear a crown. Yeah, we say things a little differently here in Jersey. And our shore house, we're in Wildwood. So if you're familiar with Jersey the least bit, you would probably know Atlantic City. Well, Wildwood is south of Atlantic City by about 30 miles. This is a cool tie. I like that tie. My wife likes this blue tie. Now this tie here, this one, this was listed at $170. It was a gift for me, but it was an expensive gift. And it is a nice tie. I'll just have to press it a little bit because it did get a little mangled in here. Loading these ties does take a while. If it were hanging up, it would be faster. You know, I'm kind of working with just one hand. I got room for 6 more ties after I load these two. and then I'm going to prepare to watch Pooch's and Nick's live stream. That's my chair. I gotta fix it. You know, you buy a product like this chair. This chair I got, you know, I call it the fat boy chair. It's a heavy duty chair. For being a heavy duty chair, it sure has a lot of creaks and stuff in it. So it's what I'm not happy with. So I might have to put some lithium grease or graphite in there or something and figure out how to get it into, if I can see the ball bearings or whatever that are in there. Because every time I move the chair, you can hear them. It's definitely metal to metal. Yeah, this thing's bulking out a little bit now too. You can see that. So I think it's still okay for the ties. I don't know, I might have to rethink that. Like maybe I don't want that many ties. Maybe it'll, I mean, gravity's going to help in some aspects, but then it could cause the ties to twist. Yeah, I probably need to print 4 more of these, considering that I have over 200 ties. I might want to print more too. I mean, the roll of filament, inland filament that I used, was 20 bucks. It's a kilogram of filament, which means that I can probably print, I don't know if I could print 100, but I could definitely print 4 more without seeing a dent in the filament. And the ease of that is I just hit the go button on the printer, assuming that it's going to work fine. Overnight prints aren't always successful. I've been successful, but you know, knock on wood. But I haven't printed that much. Now you got somebody like Jeffrey Wright, he's doing a print a day. And depending on his schedule, he might have to do 5 prints in one day so he can have them scheduled so that there's 1 print a day that's released. Alright, there we go. So he's seeing his side of failures. There were a couple times where he was just stressed. Alright, so I'm not seeing much flex. You know, this isn't an ultra scientific thing here. I was going to put a couple ties on the top, but I decided not to. I'll just let them be. So I'm going to hang this up. This is a success, and I'm going to print more for sure. And this will free up some space. The only thing I don't like is how bulky it is. So now it is going to take up some real estate. You know, I'm about 17 foot wide in my closet, where I have all my dress shirts and dress pants. So the more I print, the more wider it's going to get this way. The less I print, it's still going to bulk out. So this measurement, let's take this measurement to see how much it's sticking out. So if I'm eyeing this up, it's 115, switch to inches, so 4 inches. And at the very bottom, we're like coming close to maxing out our 6-inch calipers. So in the middle, 2/3 of the way down, it's like 4 inches, and the rest of the way down, it's like 6 inches that it's sticking out. Alright, so thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment. Tell me if you like this idea, if you think it's stupid. But if you tell me it's stupid, tell me why you think it's stupid. I got a lot of people that just say, you're stupid or whatever. Well, guess what? You get deleted. So you got to tell me why. I'm okay with criticism, but you got to give me more than you suck. So, thank you. Okay. so hit stop record here and stop record over here. Now I'm behind the camera. Alright, so Happy Extruder, Bob Young, awesome. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I'm scrolling back through the comments. Yeah, Bob, you were a big help last night. Yeah, and I'll if you're still with me, I'll help you with the audio. Yeah, so this tie rack holds it was built to hold, what do we say, 24 ties, but I was able to double them up, so now it's holding 48. Yeah, and we talked about that, converting your camper into a command center. That'll be badass. So yeah, I'm interested to hear more about the swimming pool 3D printed stuff. I'm guessing you're using ABS. What's more compatible? Yeah, so okay, so now you say hope the closet bar doesn't droop from the weight. Well, I'm not in a position to show you that now because that half of the room is a friggin' mess. But you got to see it. It is drooping. There's a lot of deflection there. I'm going to say there's 3 inches deflection over 17 feet. So it's probably really close to a catastrophic failure. And I can see that happening one night. We'll be in bed, and all of a sudden we're going to hear this something give way. It might not be that loud because the clothes will, muffle the sound, but there'll definitely be a pop. So yeah, that's awesome. If you can get that command center going with multiple monitors. So this is it's my setup there. That's the 85. No, what is it? 49KS 8500. It's the Samsung Curve TV. So that's a 4K monitor. That's what I do all my editing on. So that thing's a beast. So I don't need multiple monitors with that. Okay, yeah, that's good to hear the PLA is working. So I'm wondering, like, maybe the water is keeping it cool in the sun, or is it in an enclosed pool? So, yeah, so we're holding 48, and I don't see much there's absolutely deflection here. I don't see a lot of deflection. Yeah, okay, so enclosed, yeah, you're not getting any sun, or at least direct sun. Yeah, I'm not watch this thing will snap. But I'm doing this. This is almost like providing like a sort of an impact, and I'm not feeling it. And that's what Bob was saying last night, that he didn't think I needed to do anything. He thought that everything was fine with the settings, and he was right. Yeah. Now, okay. So, how can I do more infill on a specific part within it? That that's the area that I don't understand. How to select a a section of it to say I want more infill in this area. And I'm using Slicer. It's the Slicer that came with Prusa. Oh, I do feel some deflection, but I'm going to hang this up, and it'll be a test to see what happens over time. I think what I'm... Okay, so I'm going to measure this opening where it's staying that way permanently. So let me hang this up. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to end this stream and start playing around with organizing my thoughts for edits. And I'm going to key in on Pooch's live stream, because I think he was doing 7 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for watching, sticking in there. Bye now.